Well, this is the iPhone 6, a phone that is almost 10 years old. Fun fact, the most viewed tech video on YouTube is about the iPhone 6. So you can see, this phone was very popular in its time, although not really for the right reasons. This is also the thinnest iPhone to date. Apple hasn't made a thinner one yet. Now, how does this hold up in 2023? And why do I recommend this phone? Let's start with the design. The iPhone 6 can be considered the first iPhone of the modern era since many of the new devices share similar designs to it. This was also the first iPhone to move the power button to the right side to make it easier for one-handed use. The previous phone, the iPhone 5S, had this button on the top. This was also the first iPhone to elongate the buttons and also have a camera that protrudes around the back. Many people got cases because of this, but nowadays, with the camera bumps we are getting on these flagship phones, this isn't going to bother anyone. This phone also takes a headphone jack, which is really important to note because from the iPhone 7 to the current iPhone 14 Pro Max, we won't have that anymore. We have 3 microphones on this device, which for a nearly 10-year-old phone is really impressive, considering many Android phones that come out today only have like 1 or 2. With a 4.7-inch Retina HD display on this resolution, the display has aged quite a bit, but it's still fun to view content on. Thankfully, we do get Touch ID on this phone. I could imagine how groundbreaking it must have been to have this 10 years ago. If there is one thing that will really show the age of this phone, it is the camera. The rear has an 8 megapixel camera which can take okay pictures in good lighting conditions. It really fails in low light conditions, as you can see how grainy the pictures get. The selfie camera on the other hand is almost unusable today. It is a 1.2 megapixel camera and is more grainy than grain. It can record 720p video, which is good, I guess. The rear camera on the other hand can record 1080p video at 60 frames per second with video stabilization. Surprisingly, you can still get amazing shots on this phone. The iPhone 6 still performs pretty fast. It has the A8 chip and apps really optimized to perform. With Apple devices, the spec sheet don't always tell the whole story. I've been testing this phone for a while and I haven't seen major performance drops. It just works. This phone is running iOS 12.5.7, the latest version it can update to. It's unlikely to get any more software updates because of hardware limitations, but it's still impressive that Apple released an update for this phone in 2023. Now, I only have 2 reasons why you shouldn't get this phone in 2023. That is because this is a great phone and it's only held back by these 2 reasons. Number 1, the battery, and number 2, the outdated software. Let's start with the battery. On paper, the battery on this phone is a 1810 milliamp hour battery, which means about 3 to 4 hours of screen on time. At least that's how long it has lasted when I was testing it. Now, I'm not a heavy user, I'm somewhere in the middle. I play a couple of games here and there. I listen to a lot of music and podcasts. I occasionally use social media, but I don't use the phone all that much. But even with that being said, I still have to charge this phone at least twice a day. Now, the second reason is the outdated software. Since this phone is running iOS 12, it means many of the apps that you use will not be supported on this version of software. I have found workarounds to use some of these apps, which I will tell you all about at the end of this video, but this is a major deal breaker for many people. If those are the only 2 reasons to not use this phone in 2023, then what are the reasons to use it? Well, as the title suggested, it is for dopamine detox. Now, what does that actually mean? Let me start by asking you this question. Do you want to use your phone more or do you want to use your phone less? I would really hope that you would want to use your phone less. Now, ask yourself this question. What do I use my phone for? I use my phone for communication, writing, reading, listening to podcasts and music, and as a camera. Trust me, all of those things can be done on this phone, and they can be done without any worry. And because you can't get time waster apps anyway, you can get away from it all. That's what I recommend this phone for. Anyone who wants to be more present and away from all these gadgets. Anyone who wants to touch grass finally. Now, you can still use many unsupported apps by using Safari shortcuts. As long as those apps can run on the browser, then they can be run like regular apps. I added Twitter and YouTube since I do need those apps for content creating. And on top of that, since these are website shortcuts, you are unlikely to spend much time using them anyways because they don't run as smoothly. So that's the iPhone 6 in 2023. Let me know in the comments what you use your phone for, and subscribe if you haven't already. So much more content coming to the channel. Peace out.